Welcome back. We are following a developing story out of Chicago tonight where a shooting at a Nordstrom store has left one person dead and another injured. The alleged domestic-related incident happened at the store on North Michigan Avenue on what has most likely been a busy Black Friday. An update now on the crash of flight MH17. U.S. officials say intel shows the plane was shot down by pro-Russian separatists and that no link was found to Russia. And the information comes as families of the victims are demanding answers and asking for the remains of their loved ones to be returned. Meantime, it's now 5 days after the incident and the crash site is still unsecure. The cockpit, for example, was reportedly found sawed in half and looted. And we're also receiving reports that the rebels have been tampering with the plane's black boxes. But the biggest concern right now, of course, is that the bodies of the victims are recovered. In a June letter, 26-year-old Peter Kasich said he's afraid to die, but that he's at peace with his beliefs. Kasich was captured last October in Syria and has since converted to Islam. Last Friday, ISIS beheaded British aid worker Alan Henning and threatened to execute Kasich next. His parents say their son, a former Army Ranger, had formed an aid organization in Turkey to help displaced Syrian refugees. In the letter, Kasich also wrote, quote, "If I do die, at least you and I can seek refuge and comfort in knowing that I went out trying to alleviate suffering and helping those in need." Obama asked Congress to increase penalties against these smugglers. He's also asking for more money for increased border security and to make sure these children are treated humanely. Now, regarding his meeting with Governor Perry, he said Perry had 4 specific areas of concern: how many patrol agents were at the border, how far away they were from the border, that kids are immediately deported from Mexico, but those coming from South America have to go through a much more lengthy process, and how long the administration process itself takes, that court wait times are too long because there's simply not enough capacity. So bottom line, he wants Congress to work with all parties to directly address the situation, to deal with it, with the surge, and prevent it. And toward that end, Obama is asking for Congress to solve this by passing his proposed supplemental spending request right away.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
And that was President Obama speaking on both the current U.S. strategy overseas in Iraq and the tense situation in Ferguson, Missouri. Starting with Iraq, we know Iraqi and Kurdish forces have recently recaptured the largest dam in Mosul. This dam was directly tied to the objective of protecting Americans in Iraq and the embassy in Baghdad. And Obama says this proves that Iraq and Kurdish forces are capable of working together in this fight against ISIL. The U.S. will also address the crisis in the northern Iraq area on Mount Sinjar by working with the Iraqi government and other countries to get food, water, and additional assistance to those in need. The more long-term strategy here involves supporting the Iraqi government to turn the tide against ISIL and create a credible, united government that can be maintained. Now, with respect to the evolving situation back at home in Ferguson, Missouri, Obama said the Justice Department is conducting an independent federal investigation into the death of Michael Brown. Again, a press conference here in the aftermath of the tragic death of actor and comedian Robin Williams. Here's what we know so far. Williams was pronounced dead by the fire department yesterday at approximately 2:02 p.m. He was 63 years old. He was last seen alive at 10:30 p.m. the night before by his wife. He was found clothed in a seated position with a belt secured around his neck. He was slightly suspended from the ground. They say he was cold to the touch. And we also know that he had superficial cuts on his wrist. There was a pocket knife that seemed to have dried blood on that. They have yet to confirm it, but they're going to conduct scientific testing on it. According to results of a forensic examination, there was no apparent struggle or physical altercation prior to this. This investigation is ongoing, but the preliminary cause of death was asphyxia due to hanging. As far as questions that were asked, we don't know yet if a note was left or if he was under the influence of drugs or alcohol at the time of his death. We do know he had an ongoing battle with depression. Very sad news, and we'll be sure to stay on this for you, as this is clearly a great loss felt by many in the entertainment community and beyond. And coming up next on One American News, an American aid worker has been held hostage in Pakistan for 3 years. Find out about the family struggling to get their father home after this.
ISS. Got main engines at 108%.
Avionics power nominal.
And as we've just been informed, there was an explosion. And again, you can see a lot of smoke on the screen, a lot of fire, it appears, in the aftermath of this. We know the rocket was filled with over 5,000 pounds of supplies, including experimental hardware, spare parts, and crew provisions. As far as visible damage, we understand there was significant property damage and vehicle damage, and that they're working now to secure this facility and to collect all data, including any notes or photographs, so as to prepare for that to be cataloged. Of course, we will stay on this. Our newsroom is on this right now, and we'll offer any updates as soon as we receive them. Just moments ago, President Obama announced the United States is joining the European Union in issuing further sanctions against Russia. The move comes in response to Western accusations of Moscow supporting pro-Russian separatists in Ukraine's eastern region. The sanctions specifically target Russia's energy, arms, and financial economies, with the focus on state-owned banks. Obama says Western nations are trying to avoid bloodshed by impacting Russia's economy. Despite the announcement, the president assures the situation is not a new Cold War. And the crowds of pro-democracy protesters in the streets of Hong Kong are thinning out now as student leaders have agreed to meet with government officials. Common Core education standards, you all are familiar with those. The judge ruled against a lawsuit saying the governor's actions harm parents, teachers, and students. Scientists in South America have discovered one of the largest and the heaviest dinosaurs in history. The Dreadnoughtus dinosaur weighed about 65 tons when it died, and it was not even done growing. Fact, Emily Roseman has the oversized details. And a great reminder that life has its hardships, its obstacles, and its uncertainties, but by opening up a dialogue about it, as did Miss Layton, you can arrive at a very positive outcome. As you know, the universe is expanding at an accelerated rate, but guess what? So is the economy. Right now, at least, it's expanding at its fastest rate since 2011. Government officials report from April to June, the GDP grew by 4.6%. As if we all need less incentive to work out, now it's going to cost us a little more. But they're saying this 5.7% tax is all part of DC's $10.6 billion budget plan. Now, if you are already unsure about roller coasters, this next story is not going to help. I'm just warning you. California state investigators say an entire tree, not just a branch, fell on a roller coaster's track at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and this caused 22 people to be stuck on the ride on Monday. Rescue workers saved all 22 people after they were held on the Ninja roller coaster for what was no doubt a very long 3 hours. And over in Germany, U.S. troops celebrate Thanksgiving with a turkey dinner. Jillian Kitchener has more on their feast, which is bringing the troops together even though they're away from home. Most of you are likely familiar with the story of Amelia Earhart and how she disappeared while attempting to fly all the way around the globe. Well, now, 77 years later, a woman who shares her very same name hopes to finish the flight that began all those years ago. 31-year-old Amelia Rose Earhart is trying to complete a 24,000-mile journey using a single-engine plane. If she completes the 17-day journey, she will become the youngest woman ever to do so. And although the two women share no relation, the present-day Earhart says she's excited to connect with the Earhart of the past, and she also plans on tweeting updates during her flight. And you almost wonder if her name dictated her decision there. A lot of people share famous names, but to actually follow in the footsteps, that is a unique story right there. So we want to leave you with that tonight. My name is Cassie Leuffen, and I want to thank you for sharing your Sunday night with me. Also, if you'd like to continue the conversation, you can reach me on Twitter at Cassie Leuffen. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow.